In today's episode, Mike asks, what is the latest thinking on the best times to post on social media? There isn't any, or there shouldn't be, because this is an intellectually bankrupt question. And no offense to Mike, because I'm sure Mike is probably someone who's been asked this by his superiors to come up with a pat magic answer to their social media issues. But the question is the wrong question. There are not magical times that social media just suddenly springs to life and you all of your woes are solved as a marketer. Doesn't happen. What this line of questioning is indicative of is someone or an organization that's asking of someone to find easy answers, and there aren't any. There are no easy answers when it comes to social media. There are no easy answers when it comes to marketing. It's a lot of hard work. So, what is the correct or the more inquisitive or the less incurious answer to this question? What should you be doing instead? The answer is to determine with much greater understanding who your audience is, and it may be a whole bunch of miniature audiences in one, and then understanding how those people behave. Once you understand who your audience is, dates and times take care of themselves. Let me walk you through a couple of examples. Let's say that you are a B2C brand and you discover through tools like Facebook Audience Insights, Google Analytics, Audience Analysis, Twitter Audience Insights, whatever the tool is that you use, that the majority of your followers or your fans or your website traffic or whatever happens to be college students. Is there a best day or time to post on social media for college students? Well, think about what a college student does, right? During weekdays, there's certain days and times when, they're probably on their phones doing stuff. On the weekends, are there days and times that they're doing stuff that, hasn't engaged with their device? Yes, absolutely there is. I'm going to say they're probably not engaging with your brand. Saturday night at 11 p.m. may be one of the highest engagement times, but they're not engaging with you. They're engaging with their friends, right? And then think about the seasonality. So from September through early December, yes, they're engaged in certain activities, and they're on break. And then during the summertime, they're on break. And if your audience is international students, guess what? The summertime is going to have a very different pattern than a domestic student. So you get the example here. Your audience is not just some amorphous blob of people from which you can extract top-line data and expect to get good results. There are a lot of sub-audiences within your group. If you are a B2B company, are there days and times that work better than others? Well, yes, if people are at work, then Mondays through Fridays generally will be better, but there are also people who Sunday evening like to get their work together, organize their week. There are people who are working in startups who are burning the midnight oil 7 days a week. So if you don't know what companies your audience works for, then you may be making assumptions about them being, say, a Fortune 500 or a Fortune 10, a very regimented work week, when in fact, if they're all startups, there's no regimentation at all. Even time of day may wildly vary. If your audience works for agencies, for example, if that's one of your market or your markets, guess what? A whole bunch of agencies have summer Fridays. So you need to understand who the audience is and how they behave as people in order to be able to understand the times and days when they're going to react to your content. Are there periods of time when your audience is naturally more curious about what your product or service is? Absolutely. And this is something you would get, say, out of search data. You would look in all of your search analytics to see, when are people actually searching for our product? When do they care about our product? When does our product solve a problem, or when do they have that problem? That is going to be a lot more informative for you than just wondering in general when to post on social media. If you are if you have development capabilities or you work with Braintrust Insights, that you'll be able to get predictions and forecasts of different types of searches. Sometimes people are searching for their problem, sometimes people are searching for their solution. Being able to understand both gives you a sense of what content you should be publishing and when. And honestly, one of the simplest, it's not easy, but one of the simplest things you can do to get an understanding of your audience is to go talk to them. Have customers for coffee, call them up on the phone, email them, interact with them on social media, not from a scheduling perspective or a pushing content perspective, but just have a conversation with them. Hey, I got 15 minutes. Would like to know how I can serve you better as a marketer. Is there content that you're missing? Are there questions that you have that we're not answering? Tell us what we're doing wrong. One of the easiest ways to elicit information from people without making them run in fear of you because they're afraid you're gonna try and sell them a whole bunch of stuff, is to ask them, hey, what are we doing wrong? What don't you like? Right? Because that automatically frames it in a slightly negative fashion. But in doing so, it's logical and natural that you're probably not going to push a sale on them if they already don't like you. So asking for that candid feedback. What could we be doing better? What are we blogging about that you don't care about? What do what's in our newsletters? What's on our Twitter channel? Asking people, what do you want to see more of? And if you do this on a regular, frequent basis, guess what? As you do those interactions, as you talk to people, as you get information from your audience, you've also already solved the date and time question, because people will respond to you when they have time, right? So you don't necessarily need to guess when is your audience most active. You just need to ask them questions, and questions that you legitimately care about the answers to, and that help the audience do their work better and solve their problems. So there is no best date and time, but there is understanding the audience and how they live, how they work, how they behave, what problems they have, what solutions you offer that solve those problems, and how you can do that best to fit them. Because guess what? If you really solve people's problems, if you help people make their lives better, you don't need to worry about date and time. People will make time for you, right? Netflix doesn't have to worry about when people watch necessarily, right? They have to make great content that convinces people, guess what? I want to binge watch this entire series this whole weekend. I'm just going to give it my weekend and watch this thing, right? So Netflix has to care more about what do people really want to watch than necessarily trying to schedule stuff, right? They just have to make sure that their stuff is of such high value. People will make the time for them. You have to do the same thing. People will make the time for your content. So, Mike, change your thinking to how can I serve people best? How can I give the most value? And people will make the time for you. As always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. If you want help with your company's data and analytics, visit BrainTrustInsights.com today and let us know how we can help you.